Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you, whomever you may be, wherever you may be watching, looking, or listening. It's your boy Mo, trapping out the studio, the mind of a man, and welcome to You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. Hey, dog, this is the most biased show you'll ever hear in your life. Because what I don't like, and what I like, I will talk about, and you will know that I like it. It ain't no different from none of y'all. But welcome to another episode of You Gonna Get These Sports, bruh. And shout out to Marcellus Wiley because you inspired this episode. Although I had just talked about some of the Shedeur Sanders talk, I respectfully, because I love you, that dude, I love you, I respectfully disagree with a lot of what you said. As for me and these glasses, I'm going to take them off. But I just want to let you know, I done went to Hollywood. So, man, do me a favor. Just do me a favor right now and hit the like button. I know you gonna like what you hear, and if you don't like it, talk about me. I don't care. You hate the Cowboys, all the stuff that you see, because I am repping and stepping. You feel me? But do me a favor, hit the like button right now and hit the subscribe button because I want to grow this channel with people who love what they love, and I know you love me. So anyway, as I said, I got a problem with what Marcellus Wiley said, man, respectfully, and I think we should get into the weeds about it. I was a little surprised by what I heard, mainly for the fact that Marcellus was a guy who played in the NFL. So I don't understand why some of the takes that he took on the show that I watched were so unaccepting, I would say unaccepting, to the new sports media that we have. One of the things that I'll go ahead and start off with right now is talking about how we depict the narrative. And when I say we, I'm talking about people as a whole. Right? No longer do we have to go through the newspaper or through magazines or through the conventional ways of media to receive anything or to get our narrative out there. And so the fact that one of the things that was brought up was the altercation with the reporter was something that I had a problem with. But we'll get there. So I'll start back from the last episode and say, basically what y'all doing is, what y'all are saying to Shedeur, and we'll cue up the Kendrick Lamar, sit down, be humble, hold up. I ain't gonna say that on camera, you know what I'm saying? I don't be saying it at all, so don't put no smut on my name. But sit down and be humble, that's the question. Is he supposed to just, I guess my question is, and holler at me in the comments here, tap in with your boy, let me know who we got, and what, and tell me what you think and what you feel. Shout out to my boy Bruce Glass in the building. Bruce Wayne himself, my guy. It's always good to see my boy Bruce Wayne. He always taps in. And the time is coming for you to let me know how I can make me some money with the picks. Because that's what you do. That's what you do, my brother. But so Bruce, I'll ask you, man, do you sense any cockiness in Shedeur Sanders? Is it something about him that could even rub you the wrong way? I know you root for the family, and I like to, like I said at the start, I'm the most biased person you'll meet. So what I don't like, you'll know, and what I like, you'll know. But is there something, what is it about him that makes people feel like, or what is it about us that makes people feel like we are best seen and not heard? There's a lot of people that liken playing for the NFL as slavery. You go to the NFL combine, you and your skivvies, you strap down to your skivvies. Somebody old slangline that came out they draws while they was running the 40 one time. So you got those type of things that are going on, right? Where they're measuring everything about you. They're putting, they're doing the aptitude test. So let's not forget about, the quarterback being the one position where they want you to be this astronomically smart guy, right? And typically those guys have been Caucasian or white. And when it came to other people, people of other colors, specifically black quarterbacks, now they're just athletes. They're guys who can run fast and jump high. And, they don't want them to be quarterbacks. They want to turn them into running backs, and they want to turn them into receivers and tight ends and anything but a guy who is smart enough to actually lead the offense. So I do want to know what you guys think about that, number one. And my other question is, do we have to display false humility to be accepted? Meaning, it doesn't even have to be the way that Shedeur Sanders actually feels. Does he just have to go along to get along, in a sense? I mean, of course, I have my thoughts and opinions. I'm doing a whole episode about it, but I just vehemently, shout out to the boys who read dictionaries, that when my granny told me to read a dictionary when I was young, I actually did it. I vehemently disagree with that sentiment that he just has to shut up and play to a certain extent. There was somebody that said something along the lines that they believe that Shedeur Sanders, they were trying to lower his stock because there was some clause about prime, like I'm sorry I didn't remember this fully, but I'm actually chiming this in on the fly. But basically, it's the idea of you come into the NFL as a brand. So that means that you get a certain percentage of your jersey sales and things of that nature. They have to pay you more through those certain streams of income that you can actually receive because you already come in as a brand. So knowing the power of Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders last name actually created a dichotomy for them to say, well, let's sully his name. Let's say that he's bad in workouts. Let's say that he doesn't want to be drafted by certain teams because of comments that Deion made a few years ago. And I think even Deion would admit that that was maybe possibly done in poor taste, but you're just happy that you're accepted into the NFL, right? You look at the numbers at the last show, we looked at the numbers that he's put up. That's worthy of a top 2, 3, third round draft pick anyway. But I believe that there's something to it that they think the powers that be, the NFL, whatever, that they believe that it's totally necessary for him to just shut up and go play football and just be grateful for the opportunity. And I'm sorry, that is just not the world that we live in anymore, people. You have the NIL, and let's get into the NIL for a second. You're talking about there no longer being this amateur collegiate sports dynamic anymore. Now, these guys are professionals. You can now start to dock their pay as a result of what they do or don't do in practice. Yes, they still have to go make their grades, but we all know at the Power 5 schools, the PWIs of the world, it does not matter about their grades. They got somebody that can do their grades all day long. So all I'm saying is, and we talked about this before, the idea that Shedeur Sanders actually wants to be there. He wants to play professional football. In probably the most difficult position in all of sports. Let's be clear, a point guard is not as difficult as playing a quarterback in the NFL. Hockey, maybe a goalie. The only thing that I could liken to being as difficult as playing quarterback in a team sport, we're not talking about how hard golf can be or anything like that. Being a goalie, you have this little thing that you need to protect, and you're told, and what goes on is totally dictated by how good your players are on front center ice and all of that stuff. I love hockey, don't get me wrong, and we ain't trying to get into the weeds about it, but I'm just saying he's doing one of the most difficult jobs in all of sports entertainment. And by the numbers, didn't look half bad. What I would have liked to have done, admittedly, was to stack up his numbers against all the quarterbacks who have started and played 2 to 3 quarters over the whole preseason thus far. We know, we get it. We get it. You know, shout out to the Prophet Drake. I get it. Your hustle don't never go unnoticed, baby. I'm with you. I'm with it. That's for the Nothing Was the Same people who understand Drake music. If you don't, it's fine. But we get it though. He didn't play against the starters for long, and if he did, the Carolina Panthers aren't projected to do anything of substance in the NFL this year that we know of, right? So you're not even playing against the best of the best. So we don't have to argue about that. We understand that, right? But I guess I'm just wondering, at what point does the kid not get credit for doing something he's never done before? And we're talking about, okay, You said he's not that good. Okay, if we're gonna be of the understanding that Shedeur Sanders isn't that good, he's playing football for the first time on a professional level against defenses and schemes, even as vanilla as they can be. Can we all agree or have some type of understanding that this is probably the most difficult stage that he's been on? Everybody is there. Just as much as he has people rooting for him, he has people that are rooting against him. And let's be clear, you could have home field advantage. It does not stop. I don't know if any of you have ever been in big time moments before where you like, okay, true enough, I played football, I played basketball, not to that degree. I won an intramural championship in college. Shout out to them boys, you know what I'm saying? But I've also played flag football. Let me quickly tell you a story about what happened to me in the biggest moment of my intramural life. I'm playing quarterback, and we good. We should have beat this team, right? But I totally clamped up, nutted up. We went to overtime. And in my mind, I said, I'm not going to be the reason that we lose. Okay? So I'm not going to put us in harm's way. But what I never said is I'm going to be the reason that we win. Right? So we get to overtime. And the way that it's set up in flag football in overtime, which is probably plenty of rules, but the way it's set up is whoever gets the most yards or scores a touchdown wins. So I'm like, our defense is going to step up and do what we do. I'm just going to make sure that we move the ball, whatever's open. I'm not going to throw a pick, though. That was the only thing I could think of in my mind. Wasn't nobody there cheering for me. We ain't finna go to the pros in intramural sports. There's an opportunity to play in the semifinals and then go to the championship. So I go out there and I literally am holding on to the ball, Kimbo. I'm throwing the ball at the ground. I'm like, I'm going to be very conservative. They end up getting the ball. We got a few yards. They score a touchdown. We lose. I said to myself, this is just intramural sports, but I said to myself, I'll never nut up in the moment again. And I didn't. But my point is, Shedeur Sanders is under way more pressure than that. Let's be clear. Just because there are people rooting for you in the stands, you don't want to let those people down. You don't want to let your daddy down. At the same time, my last name is Sanders. So that means that people are going to hold me to a standard that I shouldn't be held to because, number one, the NFL is completely different. Number two, me and my dad played totally different positions. This ain't like in basketball where Bronny can literally, he can't be a power forward or a small forward even, but he can have the same type of responsibilities on a given day as his dad did. So anyway, I wanted to kind of paint that picture because I do believe that they expect for us in general to have a certain level of whatever, right? But I do want to speak to the idea of new media, right? And shout out to the Draymonds of the world, you know. Shout out to, I'm trying to think, LeBron. There's plenty of people that have told their story, that have podcasts, that don't wait. You like, this is a time and age where we could sit, well, and I say we, but you get what I'm saying here. This is a day and time where athletes can sit in their lockers. As soon as the show is over, as soon as the game is over, and absolutely tell the world whatever they want to from their perspective without any middleman of ESPN, Fox Sports, whoever, the local reporters. They don't need those people anymore. You can tell your own narrative. And so I'm just wondering, what does Shedeur stand to lose by friendly conversation and having a confrontation with with a reporter that gets to spew bad things about him every single day? Once again, Marcellus Wiley, respectfully, my brother, I don't understand why you took the stance that you took because, yeah, I could ignore it. Doesn't mean it's going to stop, right? I fully understand what it's like to have people say bad things about you that aren't true or that are based off a certain bias or just because it's Tuesday. So I don't think that there's ego or negativity that has anything to do with Shedeur just saying, "Hey, man." Like literally, they shared a laugh. He never was malicious. He never like bowed up to him. He really took a humble approach to confronting somebody that had something negative to say about him. He's like literally like, "You don't even know me. You only like," even based off of what we've seen in practice, everything that is said about him is he's tearing it up out there. Shedeur is making a case to be the number one with whatever reps that he gets. That shouldn't be hard with Joe Flacco on the team. That shouldn't be hard with Dylan Gabriel on the team. That shouldn't be hard with Pickett on the team. The other guy doesn't even matter. So I'm not even going to try to, of those four quarterbacks, it shouldn't be hard for him to shine a positive light on himself, even with limited reps. One guy, the same guy that he confronted, if I'm not mistaken, took issue with him having a sore arm. Well, how would Shedeur Sanders, with limited reps in practice, how would he have a sore arm? Anybody? In the comments, please let me know. If a quarterback has a sore arm with limited reps, and it's not because he's lazy or slept on his shoulder wrong or something like that, for what reason would that quarterback have a sore arm? And please, make sure y'all tap in, hit the like, comment, let me know who's there. What do you think about the situation with Shedeur? Is he not being humble enough, or do you think it's overblown? Please put that in the comments. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe. But we all know what's going on here. Shedeur Sanders has never, to our knowledge, and we can only go off of what we have known, has never had a problem with work ethic. We assume that because he's had Rolls Royces and he's got APs and he's bought his dad an AP and he's probably drove more fancy things than we would ever probably, some of us or you, because I think I'm going to have something nice one day, kinfolk, amen, but more than some of us may have ever seen in our own lifetime. But having nice things doesn't typically equate to somebody being lazy. Even in situations where we might be talking about nepotism and things of that nature, which I am going to be doing something on that very soon, because this isn't even nepotism. Deion Sanders has made his kids have to work for everything that they have had in their lifetime. So the fact that we think that just because he's a trust fund baby to some sort, or he doesn't have to play football, that is some type of knock to who he is as a person, or a player for that matter. I said again, we've never heard a lineman, a wide receiver, or a running back say anything negative about that kid. And please do not say something to me about him running for his life at Jackson State, which it wasn't as bad at Jackson State as it was at Colorado. But don't ever say anything to me about a quarterback running for his life at Colorado the way he did. He was probably like the most sacked in FBS or something like that. Being frustrated or yelling at somebody because his mentor, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, absolutely was slamming stuff. He got fined for it, yelling at people on a regular basis, and people said it's passion. He's hungry. He just wants it more. But that's what happens as a result of people having their own biases. So forgive me if I'll do multiple podcasts where I am going to speak up for a guy that said when they asked him about music, remember this, when he got drafted, they said, "Man, how you looking on the music?" "Man, I'm just worried about being a good quarterback. I got work to do. Music takes a back seat. I've wanted to do this my entire life since I was a kid. I was bred for this moment." The worst thing that he could do is be trying to put out albums and do all of this stuff. And this is another thing. His celebration is a celebration. I don't care if you're spiking a ball. I don't care if you're putting your wrist up. I don't care if you signing a football and throwing it into the crowd. A celebration is a celebration. It does not speak to the level of humility or cockiness that a player could have. And I'm glad I said that, because what I wanted to do was look up the definition of confidence, arrogance, and cockiness. And I want us to take, just if we could, bias aside, let's just see where he actually fits into this dynamic, right? So we're going whatever pops up on here. So the feeling, but this is for confidence. The feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, a firm trust. Now, if I am a receiver or a running back or a coach, would I not, in fact, want a quarterback who is confident, not only just about what he does on the field, but just who he is as a person and a man? I'm going to read this again. Confidence, the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, a firm trust. So far, I take no issue with believing that man is in fact confident. Now we're going to go to arrogance. Having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. Once again, arrogance. Having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or ability. Now, I take a moment here to pause, because how would you know that someone is arrogant based off of this definition? If we're talking about an athlete, and it could be a human being, it could be a person that just works at Chipotle, it could be whoever, right? It could be whoever, an athlete, whatever. How would we know that somebody is arrogant based off of this? Having or revealing means you displayed it, you showed it, you said it, an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. When did Shedeur ever say, I want the top award for a quarterback? I want to win a Heisman. Forget winning a championship. I've never heard him say how important yardage was to him or touchdowns. He's always had something to say about the team. When him and Travis were in contention for the Heisman, he said he wanted Travis to win it. He wanted to be there to cheer for Travis. I've never seen him be a numbers guy, meaning that he put yardage and touchdowns, his own success at his position over the team winning. I've never seen him celebrate a win, but to be like, man, but I was so sorry. I can't believe I was so terrible. I'm not going to be able to get this or that. Now this is a saying in the black community. Now, favor ain't fair. So him being able to get certain deals and certain NIL endorsements and things of that nature, none of us should have anything to say about that, because that's just what comes along with that. We all know if Shedeur was Shedeur Johnson, he doesn't get a lot of those things, because that's just not how it was set up, right? Like, now maybe he does. Let me actually backtrack, because I'm doing 90 and the 30 right now, right? I'm speeding here a little bit. Given the player that he is, he could still be entitled to the same type of NIL deals, endorsements, things of that nature. But having the name Sanders did elevate who he was, or what he could be, to the brands and things that he was attached to. The one thing that I will speak to, and not that I'll say it was tons of things, I'll say the one thing that I will speak to that I can see somebody taking issue with, possibly with the Shedeur Sanders, is him and Cam Ward working out. And Cam Ward and him are going back and forth with each other, right? And Cam Ward was like, I ain't drinking no Gatorade. I'm just gonna go through this workout. I'm gonna power through. And Shedeur said something like, I get paid to drink this. So I think when you have somebody who is fully aware of who they are, how they how they kind of sit within the pocket of significance in the world, so to speak, even if it's just in the athletic world or the celebrity world, so to speak. I personally don't take offense to stuff like that. I think it's actually quite entertaining. I think it was good, like banter back and forth between him and Cam Ward at one point. But I could argue that Cam Ward is, if y'all think Shedeur is arrogant, I don't think he's arrogant, but I could argue that Cam Ward is just as, if not more. I've seen him cussing out people in practice. Like, this is just like 7-on-7 drill type stuff. Talking crazy. I'm not knocking that. Like, that's cool if that's what y'all own. Like, ain't no problem, famo. But it's the idea that it's like it's a problem. And so 1 second, folks, my battery is down bad. So I think what I'm going to do is switch my sound so that I can actually preserve my battery and go from there. My audio bad? Y'all can't, so is my audio bad? Question, is my audio bad? Because if it is, then I might as well just go ahead and bail out on this anyway. Is my audio bad? Can y'all hear me? My bad, Ran. Y'all can't hear me. Isn't more athletes arrogant a certain point? I can hear you just fine. Somebody texted me and said, check my audio. Okay. Well, okay, good. Has it been any issues since you've been listening? Let me ask that way. But anyway, okay. I think I want to call an audible here because I don't want to discontinue recording because of my battery life. So I'm gonna actually switch this up really quick. Give me 2 seconds. I apologize. Give me 2 seconds though. So let me switch my audio.
I haven't had any issues. Okay, well, cool. I'm a just go ahead and I'm down to 20%, and I'm not trying to stop going right now. So I appreciate everybody who's been rocking so far. Hopefully you can hear me just as good from me switching my audio over. But yeah, so I could argue for those of you who do believe what you believe about Shedeur, I could argue that Cam Ward is the same. So let me see what my boy Bruce said. He said, "Isn't most athletes arrogant to a certain point?" Yeah, and I got something in my notes for that. I got something in my notes for that. To your point, Bruce Glass, absolutely. So let me look at the definition of cocky. All right, conceited or arrogant, especially in a bold or impudent way. We were young, and this is the example they gave. We were young, brash, cocky. We knew everything. So, do I think that he could probably be a bit cocky? Yes. Absolutely. I could see Shedeur being a bit cocky. I don't think he puts an over importance on himself, but I do believe that he could be a bit. Maybe he's conceited, especially in a bold way. I can see that. That's where I'll take my bias out of it. See what my boy Bruce said? People are going to hate on him because of who he is, Deion's son. And that's just something that he can't run away from. And nor should he. This is the thought that I'll put out there that I'm going to actually, this is the network, you know what I'm saying? So we got plenty of different content that we put out, but I've definitely been heavy on the sports this week. But I will say this. Nepotism is only a bad thing if you put out bad fruit. If you reproduce bad seed, then nepotism is a bad idea because you have somebody who doesn't understand the importance of work. You actually have somebody who doesn't appreciate what they have. And typically they have issues reproducing what you put in place. So from what I've seen, Shedeur and Shiloh have no issue with working, with actually doing the work. So and they seem very grateful. Shiloh did not expect to be drafted. Let's be clear. Shiloh was saying, I hope I get drafted on this last day. But if my brother's not getting drafted, who's far superior than me at my position, there's no way I should expect to be drafted. That's what we heard from Shiloh. Danced and celebrated to be a free agent pickup to play in the NFL. That does not scream guys who are sitting high off the hog. Deion loves his sons. I have no doubt about that. But what I don't believe is that he would just give them anything, even with them just being his sons. Now, we saw with the documentary, shout out to Bucky, and the stuff that he's been putting out for years now, a part of the little comeback story that Deion was talking about, he had to write a will for his family because he didn't know how it was going to go. He believed that good things would happen, but at the same time, you don't know. You don't know God's plan, so it could all go to crap tomorrow. And he could have not got off the operating table. So you express wisdom and you make a will for yourself. You develop a trust, I hope, that he's done. And one of the things that he actually said was, I had to divvy up what I owned based off of who could handle what, who's deserving of what, who's overall just a good kid. Like, so I just don't see them taking this belief about themselves that they don't have to do anything because daddy's just going to give them this or do that. So that is the thing that I believe that all those kids truly have a sense of work ethic because they see their dad model it. So let me say it that way. So then we get into the confrontation with Cam Newton. This was another thing that Marcellus Wiley brought up on his show when he was talking about how he felt like there were remnants of the old Shedeur, the cocky, arrogant, maybe diva-ish Shedeur showing up. Once again, we talk about, and if there's hopefully there's no issue with, oh crap, I think I know what's wrong. Okay. I know what's wrong. Pardon me for 2.5 seconds, y'all. Boy, I was charging my laptop with my laptop. Boy, that was silly. That was silly. But anyway, I got it squared away now. But let's get into the Cam Newton versus Shedeur thing, right? Which was this moment in time that was very small. Cam Newton, being an athlete and being a new media member, totally understood Shedeur's stance on whatever. He also is still connected very much to the youth, to the kids that look up to Shedeur, that have hopes of having stardom and actually going to the NFL. It wasn't an issue. So for those of you who don't know what happened, right? During the season last year, Cam Newton approaches Shedeur Sanders during pregame. And, Shedeur's warming up. He's focused. But you don't really see him interacting with a bunch of people. At least I haven't. But he took issue with some of the things that Cam Newton was saying. Now, one thing we know about Boogie, he is going to keep it a bean with what he says. Point blank, period. He's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to keep relationships in mind because he absolutely loves Deion Sanders. He loves him rotten. But he's not going to allow his love for Deion to not tell the truth about what he thinks about Shedeur. So much so that he even said, I want to see how Deion coaches somebody that's not his son. He felt like maybe he was taking it easy on Shedeur sometimes. So maybe he's taking that. So maybe Shedeur is taking that into account. Maybe he's taking into account that, once again, he actually said this. I can't even say maybe. He actually said this. After the fact, he's like, there's no beef, there's no issues. This is the reality, though. There are plenty of non-African American black outlets that don't say things a certain way. A lot of the times, and this is coming from a person who knows how to use their words to cut. At least that is how it's been at certain times in my life, right? Being a guy who knows how to use words to cut, Cam Newton absolutely can say things in a way that would lead you to believe that he's not much of a fan of yours. Now, I can agree that this generation, Alpha or whatever it is, they are very much more sensitive than a millennial like myself. The latchkey kids, we had to get it out the mud. So it was a lot of roasting. It was a lot of, you better show up looking like it, talking like it, and even if you were, we were going to still find a way to roast you. So I think when you look at media today, there's a lot of issues with this generation, and maybe even the generation before, Generation X, I believe it was, or Z. Please fill me in on whatever generation. I'm terrible at that stuff. But there was a lot of angst about watching how you talk to me. For example, you got certain guys who you can't, like, they paint their nails. And we're supposed to be okay with the kid painting his nails because I don't even know. But the reality is, we didn't grow up like that. I remember when I was in high school, and it was this one kid that came to school with a skirt on. Had his hair done. This was a phenomenon for us. You got to think, I went to high school in the early 2000s. Graduated 2005. 05, we keep it live, kinfolk. You already know how this go. Bruh, he was hated. Am I telling you that was right? No, I'm not saying it was right. I'm just telling you how things were. So we go from one kid in a billion years that wants to be open about his sexuality back in 2004, 2005, to we got basketball players that are in what we know to be heterosexual relationships. And I'll say only, even though I don't know what these people do in their private time, painting their nails. They got kids that they brought into the world, and we have men that paint their nails. Now, if you cool with that, you can be cool with that. My son can't paint his nails, though. It just don't happen like that, Captain. But I'm not mad at nobody. All I'm saying is, in this day and age, these kids, these young men, they interpret. That ain't up to me. All right, so I'm gonna switch this one more time. So anyway, the confrontation with Cam Newton, he used that as a measuring stick, and I'm talking about that dude Marcellus Wiley, right? Here's my issue with that. I get it that somebody like Cam Newton's an MVP in this league. He won at the highest level in college. He played at the highest level in high school in multiple sports. He's doing dope things now. He's fully respected and was a dog for what he did in the NFL. Absolutely 1,000%. But that doesn't mean that I can't walk away from somebody if I don't like. Number one, I'm supposed to be focusing on what I'm doing. So if I'm on the field, if I'm Shedeur Sanders and I'm on the field and I'm focusing on doing my drills and Cam Newton wants to come up to me and have a conversation, number one, I don't have to. I can, but I don't have to. That's number one. Number two, if there's an issue, he actually addressed what the issue was. Cam walked up. He knew that the energy was off. He said, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? Hey, man, like what you said, we'll talk about it later. They had a conversation. That's what I can respect about this whole dynamic is they were men. They had a disagreement. He addressed it, they talked about it, and they moved on. And since then, as Cam has done with his platform, he goes to show love to those people. If it's really hate, you're going to get some different energy. What he had going on with Gilly, you could tell that, yeah, this is a job we doing, but yeah, bro, you rocking with the wrong one. What he did with Ryan Clark, that was a real thing. Even if it's just to make commentating and sports debating more relevant again. So for me, I don't believe that the confrontation with the reporter, the confrontation with Cam Newton, that those aren't real confrontations. I mean, I think they're confrontations from the standpoint of you're confronting somebody about what is going on at the root word of what that means. But I'm still not getting where it's showing that he's giving off that he's a bad kid or he's a diva or he's not coachable. Here's the other thing. Have we heard anything in practice about Shedeur being a problem? Them talking about other things, like saying he's not coachable. He doesn't know the playbook. I guarantee you, if those things were actually happening, they wouldn't be swept under the rug. One thing Shedeur Sanders is not going to get is the benefit of the doubt. And I know that you know that that's accurate. So, forced humility. It's not it. The fact that people think that it's almost like in relationships, right? Somebody cheats on you. So instead of you addressing the situation, you just let it continue to happen, right? So it's two different ways that I'm thinking about how this ain't it, how you handle it, right? Somebody cheating on you, right? In a relationship, marriage, long-term relationship, whatever. And you decide that you're not going to say anything about it. You're just going to love them more. And that's just going to make them stop cheating. Not happening, homeboy, homegirl. Never happening in a million years. Because most people, they're showing a lack of value for you by how they treat you anyway in that situation, right? Or you say, I'm going to get even. I'm going to cheat back. It's a fair one. Fair exchange ain't a robbery. And so you go and cheat instead of dealing with the situation, confronting the person, or letting the relationship go because you want to be with somebody who's going to value you at all times from the jump. That's the same way I think about forced humility. I'm going to put you low on the depth chart so you could value the position that you're in. I'm not going to draft you into the 5th round because you need to understand that this ain't going to go the way you want it to go. I'm going to let you start because you're the only one that's healthy, but you ain't really doing that well, so I'm just going to, like, that stuff don't fly. And here's the thing. Y'all may not believe it, you don't have to. But oh man, if God got something for you, it don't matter what other people have in mind. I will quote a psalm. I'm sorry, but I'm going to quote a psalm. I'm not sorry, actually. The blessings of the Lord make rich and add no sorrow to them. So if God really got something for you, Shedeur Sanders, if they wanted to keep you on the depth chart at number 10 out of 4 people, guess what? 2 hamstring pulls. They say he's going to be the starter, but he probably ain't even looking that good in practice because it's Joe Flacco. He's on beyond his last leg. You're going to get your opportunity to shine. I wish they would cut him from that team. I promise you, he won't go undrafted. He won't go unpicked up again. I promise you that. So stop trying to make it seem like we got to force humility into a kid who's never shown himself to not operate in humility. It doesn't make sense. Marcellus Wiley spoke to something saying that it's the reason that the coach didn't reference him when he was referencing. So he talked about the defense. He talked about the turnovers. And he said, hey, it was a celebration for this person got a turnover, this person got a turnover. Then he went to special teams. They got, they did this, they did that. When he got to the offense, he said, well, we didn't have any turnovers. And it was a really short thing. And Marcellus Wiley said he's experienced this because he's a pro. He's been in the league for years. And he said the idea is you're a fifth round draft pick. Most fifth round draft picks aren't going to get praise for doing great things. I once again vehemently disagree. Because it's the Rudy effect. It's the kid who you never expected to do great things that does. And I'm not saying that his performance was great. Don't get me wrong. He almost had a pick. It should have been a pick. He also had a few of those, like 3 balls where the guys got alligator arms. They were scared to go over the middle. But it wasn't like he went 1,000% on completions and 4 touchdowns. I get it. But what I'm saying is the quarterback should get the love. They orchestrate the offense. Why wouldn't they get the praise? This kid, obviously the bar is very low for Shedeur Sanders based off of how y'all drafted him, based off of where he stayed on the depth chart, even with injuries. How do you stay number 4 with 2 guys out with injuries? It just doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's something that sounds cool, but that team knows that Kenny Pickett right now is still not better than Shedeur Sanders. They know that. Joe Flacco, for all intents and purposes, his skill set, Joe Flacco was only ever a deep ball thrower. If you look at any of his highlights, it was throwing go routes to Torrey Smith or whoever that was. He was never like an assassin picking you apart or something. And he's not going to develop into something else this late in his career. It's like a boxer, and they say the last thing to go is the power, right? So, if your best asset was having a strong arm, and you've been in the league for 12 years now, you're not Brett Favre, buddy. You're not Patrick Mahomes. You're not Josh Allen. You're not Lamar Smith. You're not Lamar, why I can't think of his last name? Jackson. You're not Lamar Jackson. So you're not going to be throwing the ball 60 yards. And newsflash, this is the NFL. You're never going to be able to do what you did in the playoffs ever again in the NFL. He's a one-trick pony is all I'm saying. So thinking that if all things are considered equal, that he's not going to beat out Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, I don't even remember the other guy's name. They don't matter. That's all I'm saying. So, man, listen, man, if y'all been rocking with your boy thus far, man, I'm just resetting the room. Thank you for tuning in. I'm not going nowhere. We keeping this going. I'm just resetting the room. Thank you for watching. You gonna get these sports, bruh. Man, we talk all things sports, man. If you ever have anything that you want me to talk about, put it in the comments or email me at iamanthonymoreinfo@gmail.com. Once again, iamanthonymoreinfo.com. Man, hit the like if you in here, man. If you've been rocking with your boy for 40-something minutes, 30-something minutes, 20-something minutes, please give your boy a like so that we can continue to spread the word. And subscribe to the channel, man. You know, we talk a bunch of dope things, not even just sports, but we talking to sports and we do it well, man. So thank you, man. And shout out to the person who did the thumbs down. I ain't seen the thumbs down in a while. Hey, man, that boy right there got some balls on him. I wonder if you're doing it because it's Shedeur Sanders. That's interesting. Because if you came on specifically to hate, that's interesting. Because if you're going to hate, go to the comments and tell me why you're a hater. It's like if you're familiar with rap and he said, tell me why you mad. It's the mad rapper, right? Tell me why you mad, man. Yeah, man. You kind of remind me of that guy. Anyway, that's cool. We accept all the love here, even the negative love. But anyway, my whole point was for this thing was he said that you can't build Shedeur up because it tears the other guys down. That came out of Marcellus Wiley's mouth. And I guess I'm just wondering, if I'm a father of 3 like I am, right? And I'm out at the park with other kids and I see that they're having a tough time, would I not encourage my kids to not make the other kids feel bad? I guess I'm just not understanding the logic behind what he actually said. Like, you would literally say that Oh, they didn't give him the praise that he actually deserved because he did play really well. If I'm not mistaken, his numbers were better than the backup player Joe Milton III that the Cowboys, my team, my actual team, actually like he's been in the league for multiple years. Maybe he had more yards, but he had more passing attempts as well. So Shedeur Sanders, that's never played in the NFL ever, actually is looking like somewhat of a seasoned vet. I mean, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. So it is what it is. Warren G says salute. Man, appreciate you, my guy. Thank you, man. For anybody on here showing love, maybe the thumbs down was a mistake. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't there no more. But thank you for everybody who's doing that. Let me see what my boy Bruce Glass said. Don't be afraid to speak in the chat. Aunt Mo is a fair person and will let you be heard. My guy. Listen, man. I gotta come visit or something. And I gotta sit down and do lunch with you, my boy. Cause Bruce Glass, for those of you who don't know, he came to know me from another platform. And he just came over and he continues to show love. I salute you, my guy. But he's right. I'm fair. I really am. But I just want to call a spade too. So we gotta talk about when there's some level of like racism that may be involved, some level of prejudice, some level of bias that may be based off of things that are outside of Shedeur Sanders' control. I just don't want to ignore the elephants in the room. We don't do that here. We're gonna talk about it. If you want to talk about it, let's get into the weeds about it. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, right? He also brought up the word legendary. And for any of you who know Shedeur Sanders, that is his moniker. That is on jewelry. That is what he lives by. He's legendary. That's what he says about himself. I just don't understand why we can't think positively about our own selves. To Bruce Glass's point, he said, aren't all people, and I'm going to put Warren G's comment up there, but we definitely go, I'm going to get to it, but let me finish this point. He said, aren't most athletes arrogant anyway? Do you know how small the numbers are for you to make it to the NBA, the NFL, even smaller in the WNBA, Major League Soccer, baseball? You have to have an unreal belief in yourself to make it to the highest of heights. So the fact that we take issue with a guy taking belief in himself to say what I'm doing and what I'm going to do is legendary, I don't have a problem with it. And when we look at what he did in high school, three state championships and one national championship, and then you go to college and he only got better. He won 2 SWAC championships, played in the national championship twice and lost. It's fine. It happens. You can't win them all. And then goes to Colorado and puts up even better numbers against stiffer competition. I'm trying to understand why I wouldn't have an unreal belief in myself. That's not arrogance, and it could still be cockiness, but you have to believe you're that great to go out there and risk somebody taking your knees out, somebody giving you a concussion, having CTE. Excuse me, CTS, that's a Lincoln class, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me, Cadillac, I'm sorry. But that's all I'm saying. So it's nothing wrong with believing that about yourself. So Warren G said, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. This award recognizes the most outstanding offensive player in the Big 12 Conference. Exactly. Did they just give that to him because he's Deion's son? That's what I want to pose to you guys. Did they just give it to him because he's Deion's son? Or is it possible that he was an outstanding player on whatever level that he's been on? Think about this. No matter what you think about where he played high school football at, the TAPS League or whatever, you still got to execute. I said this on the last show. You still got to perform in the big moments. Right? So then you go to Jackson. Okay, cool. He plays at Jackson State. He breaks all types of records. I think the first year they didn't have such a great record or something like that, whatever. I'm like, he got better and better at Jackson State. He goes to Colorado, where the year before they were 1-10. They completely overhauled the entire feel of that locker room. No, hey, the speakers got to go. Deion gave that team structure. Now, they still couldn't get nobody to keep that boy upright. That's a whole nother situation. But he still performed. Then going into that final year, he got better. He stopped holding on to the ball so long. They shortened up the offense and how he could get rid. And a lot of that is, this is what people don't realize too. And I got your other comment coming too, my boy Warren. I got you. But the other thing is, people got to understand, that guy had no hope of like really executing to the best of the level, because that offensive line was so bad that as soon as he's getting the ball, he's got to make a move. Why do you think he probably didn't come out of the shotgun? I mean, I'm sorry. Why do you think he had to come out of the shotgun primarily? Those guys couldn't hold their pants up. They don't got a line full of 5-star recruits. Shout out to Texas, my other team. They didn't have 4 and 5-star recruits everywhere. Some of these guys were the best of what they got in the portal. And we just seen Shedeur Sanders get better and better and better. All I'm saying is, stop the hate and stop thinking that he has to have this false era of humility about himself to get love for doing things the right way. Now the whole thing about doing 100 in his car and stuff like that, still a bonehead move. I'll give you that. He's young. He got money that he's always had money. But he's living life in a lot of ways for the first time. He probably will never do that again in his life. Thank God he made it out safely with just a ticket. Wasn't no alcohol in his system. Wasn't no drugs in the system, because otherwise we would have heard about that too. That's what I'm saying. The things that are negative and that could actually happen, I promise you, he would have absolutely been called out about it. But we haven't heard it. So my boy Warren said, in the 2025 football season, Shedeur Sanders, while playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, was recognized with the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. So are you forecasting, or I'm not totally familiar with that award, but are you projecting what you believe is going to happen? Because if so, I haven't heard about it. Then he said, 2024, Washington State University's football team had the highest completion percentage in college football with 74.10%. They were followed closely by Colorado's Shedeur, 72.99. Hey, I guess I'm wondering, like, I will say this, in all fairness to my boy Bruce Glass's point, I'll be fair. I think Cam Ward's arm is definitely stronger than Shedeur's. I'm saying just off the shoulder, I think he's probably a little stronger than Shedeur for sure. I'm not as big into how fast you may be or something like that, because in football, as well as any other sport, when you do what is your best quality, it's actually situational. So it matters. It only matters when do you know when to use your speed. Or can you put yourself in a position, if you're Lamar Jackson, to hit that corner and break for 60? Because just running a 4.1 and you can't catch if you're a receiver, or whatever, you don't know how to pick the right holes, you're a speed back, but you can't get out of the backfield, like, that stuff doesn't matter. So Cam Ward being faster than Shedeur may be a true thing, but I've always seen Shedeur use his legs properly, and that's what matters. My boy Warren G said, I say it's in the works, that it's in the ward. Oh wait, hold on, I'm sorry. I say it's in the ward. It's an award that was given to him when he was at Colorado. Okay. It was an award that he got when he was at Colorado. I remember that. Okay, there we go. Now I'm picking up. Okay, I'm my bad, brother. I'm picking up what you're doing. I was being a little slow for a second right there. Okay, award. So that was the award that he got last year. He got the Golden Arm Award, the Johnny United's Golden Arm Award. I do remember that. That's dope. See, that's what I'm saying. So, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, I guess my question is, was the Big 12 a slouch? Was that a bad conference last year? Or, I mean, it wasn't the Pac-12. I'll say that. Pac-12 is a bad representative in the bowl games every year in the Final Four. So, whatever, man. Haters gonna hate. You know what I'm saying? Players go play. Ballers want the ball, rollers want to roll. But I'm taking off after I dance. Shout out to R. Kelly. Whatever. So legendary. So the bottom line to that point is, it's perfectly fine to believe you are legendary. You're gonna be legendary. I'd rather you tell me and then go show me. So now all we got to do is watch. I guarantee you that Shedeur Sanders is gonna get some snaps on that Cleveland Browns offense with the number ones in 2025. I can promise you that. If they don't do something silly like cut him because Dylan Gabriel was drafted earlier, or you traded for Kenny Pickett or something like that, he is absolutely going to play football in 2025 for that team. You know why? Because Joe Flacco stinks. Bottom line. Then he said, my boy Warren said he was the 8th player in the Heisman race. And I'm going to be honest. Travis should have won. Let me be clear. Or maybe Genty should have won. Let me not do that. Per the numbers, Genty should have won. But when you look at the impact that Travis had on both sides of the ball within any game that they played, even the games that he didn't play, it was a hit for sure. Travis should win based off of the degree of difficulty. But per the just flat out numbers, Genty should have won. I'm not even gonna cap y'all down about that, kinfolk. All right. So, to the point also of Bruce Glass earlier. What we've seen Deion display when he gives his speeches, how he's raised his sons, we're looking at the power of belief. Let's be abundantly clear about everything. Put it out on the table. This is nothing more than a guy who has extreme belief in himself. And if anybody tells you anything different, they just haters. We see it all the time. We see, like, when Deion decided to go from the SWAC to the Big 12, I heard more black people than anybody take issue with what he wanted to do. Never mind if he said it's God's plan, then they'll say he's proselytizing the faith to make moves for himself. The guy he has impact everywhere he goes. Literally everywhere he goes. So his sons, they got a little bit of that in them. Hold on one second. Hold on, because we got somebody tired that are talking crazy. Hold on. Great show, a.k.a. Gas on Deck series certified. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gail Billups Mattia. Dude, I'm a female. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a clue. Okay, so before you start going off, you just seem like you want to come on here and start talking crazy. Hear me out, Gail, okay? Hear me out, Gail. Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy. Yes, I didn't say that he didn't win the Heisman Trophy. I said, okay, so let's go back here for Gail, because she being a little slow right now. Let me go back to what my boy Warren said. He was talking about Shedeur Sanders. He said he was the 8th player in the Heisman race. I personally don't believe that there was 6 players that should have been ahead of him to go in to be in the running for the Heisman, including Dylan Gabriel, but whatever, right? So what I said was, I do believe that Travis should have won the Heisman. I said, but per the numbers, Genty should have won. If we talking about just at one position, he should have won. He dominated at one position. Travis dominated at 2. So I'm not disagreeing with you based off a degree of difficulty that that Travis should have won. But I'm saying if we're looking at one player dominating at one position, then Genty should have won based off of that. Like, he just was dominant at running back, and he did it against Power 5 teams as well. But Travis Hunter, much respect from me. He absolutely should have won the Heisman. Two-way player. Come on. What's my boy? Peter Warwick. Charles Woodson. What are we talking about here? Do you remember Peter Warwick? Since you're saying, dude, stop and all this. I mean, maybe you're just out here to troll. Whatever. It's cool. Make sure you hit the like and you subscribe, because I might need you to bring that energy back out here. So she said, yes, you did. I feel like you talk like that. Yes, you did. Gail Billups, salute. I guess. Dude, just stop. I feel like you said it like that. And your last comment. Travis did win. What the hell are you talking about? Are you well? Are you on like shrooms or something? I'm not saying that Travis didn't win the Heisman. Travis Hunter won the Heisman, Gail. I am saying that based off of what Genty did at one singular position, I believe that he was deserving of the Heisman as well. But not more deserving of Travis, because Travis played 2 positions just as elite. Do you understand now? Because now you just kind of being too trollish for me, man. And ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Hey, cool. What's your day job? What's your day job? What's your day job, baby? By the way, I think your name's dumb. Whatever. But, you know, I ain't out here to argue with you. I'm going to be honest. I'm actually good at this. I'm not even going to cap with you. But what's your day job? You care to share? Do you care to share what your day job is? Since you telling people don't quit their day job? Whatever. Listen, you hopped on my stream talking noise. So, you know, you come on here. You don't listen well. You got to use these. You got to use these, baby. Hey, man, I just don't understand why she come over here beefing, dog. All right. I receive it. I receive it, dog. I'm moving on, dog. Back with the actual factuals here. My bottom line to that is Deion has raised his kids properly. That's the last thing. You got called out on your BS. All right, baby. All right. You right. You called me out. You did a good job, Gail. You called me out, and you did a good job of calling me out, baby. You called me out, and that's what you did. All right. Sell Mo for the Man Network ammo. They don't know. Man, respect. Respect Sell Mo for how do you pronounce that? I won't say your name properly, my brother, because you showing love for sure. How do you pronounce that? Lab Tech. See, I ain't gonna tell you to quit your day job because you probably good at what you do. And I do apologize. I'm just being silly on here. I promise you. I ain't gonna say I'm no good guy. People say they be like, no, I'm really a good guy. I was like, man, you're a terrible person, bro. But no, I'm just being silly on here. I respect, you know, whatever you got going on. But I don't believe you really heard me out though. I know that I know Shedeur Sanders absolutely not Shedeur Sanders. See now I'm going out. I know that Travis Hunter won. I mean, now look, I'm looking at your comment. I'm talking to the comment. I know that Travis Hunter won the Heisman. I do know that. And all I was saying was that Genty put up numbers that were worthy enough that if he would have won, I wouldn't have been mad about it. That's all I was saying. You know. Otherwise, we could agree to disagree. Oh, that's Pop. Is that Pop? So she's stressed. She's stressed. She's stressed with that job. Is that a hard job, Gail? I'm really wondering. She's stressed with that job, 100. But yeah, I mean, we showing love though. The bottom line too is I'm gonna get back to the comments because we do got some comments on here. But we showing love to Shedeur Sanders, man. My question that I'm posing to the group is: do we believe, or do you believe that Shedeur Sanders needs to display more humility? Do you believe that it's something that is overdone? You know, phlebotomist. No. It's more stuff than that as a lab tech, right? And if that's what you do, let me know. I knew one of my like my old girlfriend back in the day, like high school. You know what I'm saying? She ended up being a phlebotomist. I think that's what she do now still. Shout out to her, man. But my boy Randy said, "What's good, Warren G?" I just wanted to put that comment up there. Let's see. Preseason game. Oh, so he's putting up the stats from the first game. Completions and attempts. 14 completions out of 23 attempts. Passing yards were 138. 2 passing touchdowns and no picks. Now, what we not going to do is some shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We ain't going to talk about, what he could have did. We know that one of them picks was dropped. But that's why them guys is DBs and they ain't receivers because they can't catch worth a darn. So, no picks. I think that's a great way. Oh man, not getting charged up about shouting out the old girlfriend, phlebotomist. All right, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur is playing in the second preseason game, so that's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting. Now here's my question. Who starts? Does Shedeur get to start because he played well in the first game? Or should they let Dylan Gabriel start because he was already higher on the depth chart than Shedeur Sanders? What say you, chat? That's what I'm wondering. Thank you to the 10 people that's in here, man. If you have not, please make sure you hit the like. That'll just inform other people of the conversation that we in. We want to let people in on the dope conversation that we are in fact having. Please make sure that you subscribe to the Mind of a Man Network. It's the network, man. We talk all things, man. This is going to be your one-stop shop for content, and I promise you that, man. We appreciate you. Let's see what she say. Thank you for that's another like. That's why you got to ask. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. You feel me? All right, Gail Billups said, if you think DNA is stressful, I see why you're listening to someone who doesn't know A to B. Was that a slug at me? Why you throwing slugs at me? Why? Hey, listen. Why you still in here if we beefing still? I thought we was at peace with each other. Why are you slugging at me now, Gail? That was interesting. It's cool. I accept it all. Anyway. It doesn't matter. Dylan got a match what Shedeur did. I don't know. See, that's why I may disagree with you. Because you can't tell me that Dylan been acting a fool in practice. And he still is ranked higher than Shedeur on the depth chart solely based off of the reason that he was drafted ahead of him. So I guess I don't know if I agree now. Now we all know as people who actually watch and know football, he absolutely better not come out there and be throwing picks. He better absolutely better be out there throwing touchdowns. He better have a really good, decent completion percentage. And he better be able to run that offense because Shedeur was poised that entire game. So overall, I agree with you, but I'm not sure that the brass of the Cleveland Browns may think the same thing. So that's what I will say. Let's see. Bruce said, Gail, tune in more often and you will realize you are wrong about your opinion of Ammo. I believe you misunderstood what he said. Bruce just being Bruce, dog. Love me some Bruce, dog. All right. So let me see what else I have left on the notes. We no longer can ignore those that can't do what they can do. Dang, I butchered that, didn't I? So my point is, we can no longer stop acting like people aren't who they are. Right? Some of us are gifted to be good at one thing in life, right? Some people, and if we want to go biblical here, we can be talking about talents, right? Some people got one talent, some people got two, some people got five. At the end of the day, we just so happen to be watching football royalty do something very well. From the fan perspective, he got to match him. Absolutely. Now listen, let's also be clear. Them fans ain't playing about Shedeur Sanders, dog. They asking for Coach Stefanski to be fired because he's not showing love. Now we know fandom, it can come and go. But when I look and see all them 12 jerseys and them old Colorado jerseys in that stands, nah, that ain't no fair weather fans, dog. And I think, if we could be fair here, I think a lot of this is because we really know what the NFL did. We know the hate that they really put out there. And so you can't sell us crap and call it, you can't convince us that this is edible chocolate that we eating here. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we know that y'all colluded, bruh. It's clear as day. So, and as we know, they can put a narrative out there anytime that they want to about whatever they want to. Prime example. Did y'all hear about what happened? Did y'all hear about Chucky? He's suing the NFL, and I'm talking about John Gruden for those of you who don't know who Chucky is. John Gruden is suing the NFL because he believes that they actually leaked his emails and stuff. Because listen, let's be abundantly clear. If you are a part of any club, if you're a part of any good old boy club, any fraternity, any whatever, what is going to be the reason that you actually turn on somebody? Because you actually stand something to gain. That person was maybe some type of cancer to you, or maybe their affiliation no longer served you in a certain way. So this is my question. How does his emails get hacked and nobody else's? Not to mention, I just was watching an interview and there were people talking about John Gruden. As a matter of fact, it was Shannon Sharp and Sterling Sharp. And he talked about how brilliant he thought John Gruden was. Never said anything about him being a racist. Here's the thing about people that are racist. It ain't hard to tell. There's a certain look in your eye. It's a certain way that you respond. It's very hard to hide racism in 2025. I'll say that. Now, I will also say this. It is very lame to go along to get along as well. So unless you doing a spook by the door type of situation where you're actually like, oh, okay, I'm in here and I'm finna flip something, I ain't buying. We ain't faking like we don't like white people or black people to because what is there to really gain? So the bottom line is I'm very interested to see what actually comes out about the whole John Gruden situation, because as far as I knew, people always thought he was entertaining. They thought he was very brilliant, and then next thing you know, he's got stuff that's being leaked to the world, and now we don't know who he's been working with this whole time. And then you got somebody like AB who then goes to say, see, I knew something was off. For those of you who know how AB left Oakland, he didn't want to play there for whatever reason, and he was on what he was on. Shedeur Sanders' shoes sold out in 10 minutes. So here's the other thing about that, right? This is why he has to do well. Shedeur Sanders, let's be clear. He could go somewhere else and possibly rebound or whatever. It is actually in Shedeur Sanders' best interest that he does very well and that he becomes the starter at some point during this season. Because you know who else sold a lot of jerseys? Tim Tebow. Now, Tim Tebow won a playoff game. Now, they played zero coverage, and it was foolish, but whatever. You know who else? Johnny Football sold jerseys. There's a lot of guys that sell jerseys, and I get your point. That he's an impact guy. Like, he's just got that it factor to him when it comes to how he shows up, the name, the bravado. It's just what comes along with it. But he got to play football too, though. So those jersey sales are going to mean a whole lot more if he's leading them to a winning season, if he's leading them to the playoffs, or he's being competitive, and the reason that they're actually losing is the defense or special teams or something. That's what we got to look out for here. So I agree with you. And the shoes are fire. Matter of fact, Randy, did you actually see the shoes, bruh? Because the day of the football game was actually my boy Randy's birthday. And those orange and black, them cross trainers was so fire, bruh. I ain't even going to hold you. So, my question once again to the group. Let's just make it simple. Is Shedeur actually lacking humility? As a person, as a football player, I don't care how you slice it. Is Shedeur Sanders in need of a reality check, quote unquote? Do you believe that it's justified to keep him at a certain, to make it to where the team isn't acknowledging what he's done thus far? What Stefanski did say is that he would see significant playing time this week. So I ain't gonna lie to you. It's Philly. So I'm hoping that we see him against first team defense. Because what I'm interested to see is how he rebounds and puts together what he's learned in 1 week of playing in the preseason. We all know that's not going to compare to him playing in the NFL on a regular season NFL game. But to see how he adjusts, I'm actually quite interested in that. Listen, man. I'm out of notes here. And I'm not going to drag it on. There's no need. If y'all don't have anything else, if the chat doesn't have anything else to do, please hit the like. Once again, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Mind of a Man Network, man. Thank you to Gail, man. I don't know what your beef is, dog. You got beef for no reason, Gail. I love you, girl. Love you. Love you, bub. And thank you to anybody else who tuned in. Man, I'm your host, Ant Mo, for those of you who know for sure. Man, if there's something that you want, if there's some specific sports topic, team that you want to talk about, we can get into the weeds about it. Email me at iamanthonymoreinfo@gmail.com. iamanthonymoreinfo@gmail.com. That's 2 O's on more. Or put a comment below. We gonna do what we do. I appreciate you. Thank you for hitting the like. Thank you for subscribing. Until next time. Bruce Glass, I ain't even putting up that Hail to the W. I ain't doing it this time, folk. Nope. Because when I see you, it's on site about them Cowboys versus them Commanders. And by the way, Bruce, aren't they supposed to be changing that name back to the Redskins? Because I've been hearing, there's been rumblings about that ever since. And I'm just wondering if it's some truth to that. Because I think we got y'all like week 7 or something like that. 7 or 9. I know we got Green Bay. We're going to get throttled either way. Let me see. We got some comments. Shedeur Sanders NFL jersey sales have reportedly reached 250 million, netting him a $14 million commission. I like it. I like it. Let me see what Gail said. I'm one of the internet aunties. That's cool. Hey, if there was a level of troll to it, I'm cool with it. I actually enjoy it. I like the banner back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I'm good at it. So that's why, I'm going to be honest with you. I only stopped because my boy Randy said something, and I feel like, he was kind of letting me know, like, hey, bro, all right, dog. You know what I'm saying? But, Gail, I look forward to talking to you again for sure. I definitely want you to pull back up. Don't be surprised when you see me out here saying some insightful things, too. I doubt it ever happens, and honestly, I just wish they'd leave it the way it is and move on. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I wouldn't be mad at the Redskins because I like the Redskins. I grew up with that R was fire. The way that look, that's the way I remember it. That R was fire, dog. I ain't gonna lie. And it was dope seeing the Indian people at the game and stuff like that, Native American people, respectfully. That was always dope to me. So I think it's just more important, more than anything, that Washington fans have something to cheer about again. I heard, people talk about how the fan base was. So I'm just glad that the NFC East means something again. Now we just need the Cowboys not to stink. That's a whole nother situation. Warren said he played against first team Panthers. Yes, I agree. No, I'm with you. And my point to that was the knock will be, well, the Panthers aren't any good. And I'm like, that's true, but take any college kid that's never played against an NFL defense and put them out there. They're going to throw a couple picks. I don't even remember them having like false starts or anything in that game. Shedeur was a very poised kid out there, man. And so my whole point is, I just hope that when it's all said and done, because I think from here he's gonna do nothing but go up. Let's be clear. But I'm just hoping that when it's all said and done, they could see if he. Let me say it this way, because I know how the internet go. I'm hoping that if he does go on to be legendary, that they see that the signs were all there for him to be that guy. All great quarterbacks have thrown picks. All great quarterbacks have missed reads. They were even complaining. Okay, not they. Marcellus Wiley. This is one thing that I forgot to put in the notes. He was even taking issue with the scrambling ability. Johnny Manziel made it to the NFL, won a Heisman off of running around in the backfield like Barry Sanders and heaving the ball up to Mike Evans. Tell me I'm lying. Does anybody remember Johnny Football? And this is no disrespect to Johnny Football. Hey, he threatened to slap Gilly in the face when he seen him, Kim Folk, because of how he was talking about Cam Newton. But Shedeur's far greater than that. So, I mean, to me, if you understand coverage and you say, because I remember them, now it's coming back to me, right? Marcellus Wiley also said there was a play where he could have basically threw the ball out to like the flat or the corner or whatever, and it was wide open. But he also knew based off of the coverage that nobody had the quarterback during that play. So you tell me, especially if I understand how to get the first down and get down, what's actually a good play and what's actually a better play? Yes, I understand. If I dump the ball off, I get it out of my hands, and I give somebody else the ability to go make a play that may be more equipped to make the play. I understand that. But if I'm able to scramble as a quarterback strategically in certain situations to get a first down, that's what actually cripples people sometimes, is a quarterback's ability to run the ball. So my boy Bruce said, I like the Redskins. I agree. It was a dope name. Then he said, My boy Warren said, no, he is not cocky. I think he's probably more cocky than anything. Cocky to me is just kind of like you just got a little extra to you. You get what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, I'm confident, but I got a little something to me. You get what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. It's like cocky is just like a little like I know I'm that. It don't mean that I'm moving a certain way that's like detrimental to the team or to my friend group. It just might mean I got a little extra something. I don't think he's arrogant. I think cocky is more appropriate. And then Rated R Production said it's the idea of black excellence and prosperity. Oh ho ho! Now we talking now, huh? Where you been at all my life, Rated R? Well, pause. Sounds fine. Thank you, my brother. So the idea of black excellence and prosperity. The greatest point that people don't ever want to sit on, pause, because I know that probably piss Randy off. He hate that, but it's the internet, bro. You gotta be real careful. But it's like black excellence. I'll say it this way: the Mannings. Is that football royalty? I'll say it this way. I won't say white excellence because I think we've lived in America. We understand white excellence. Okay. Is that football royalty? If you think about the Manning family, you have Archie was the daddy. He played first. Then you come back and then you have Peyton. Then you have Eli come right behind him. Cooper Manning played very shortly in college or something. End up having like a career-ending injury or something like that. But he played at some type of high level before getting injured in like college or something like that. I don't know if it was just that he wasn't good enough. But then you have Arch Manning that comes after everybody. And now he's the man at Texas. Red-shirted. Then he comes in and he plays behind a terrible Quentin Ewers was atrocious. I'm sorry. I never was on the Quentin Ewers train, and this is just a little side talk about Texas. I was never a Quentin Ewers guy. I didn't understand the hype. The mullet was stupid. I mean, respect, because I think he's one of my Christian brothers. But I never understood the Quentin Ewers train. But now you have Arch Manning. You have Arch Manning coming on the scene to be the guy. What's the expectations for the Longhorns? Do we expect for him to be able to battle against the Georgias and the Clemsons and all of those off the muscle? That's the question. But my initial one is the Manning family football royalty? I'll say it that way. I won't say white excellence. But are they football royalty? It's an easy answer, right? So now when we look at Shedeur Sanders, played for almost 20 years in the NFL, Hall of Famer, coaches his sons, gives them what they know to be great. They're both in the NFL. Seemingly, both of them are going to make it on their team, seemingly. Because they showed one play of Shedeur Sanders rushing the quarterback. He didn't sack him, but they were like, oh my word, Shedeur Sanders. And I was like, bro, knock it off, okay? I hope Shedeur does well, but we not going to act like is Ed Reed or something. Like, they just be doing. I get the angst of people who seemingly can get burned out on the Sanders train. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm a fan. But what I'm saying is, for outsiders, I understand the angst that comes along with not wanting to hear about certain people every day. It's like people who get tired of hearing about the Cowboys. It's like, why are they America's team? Because we are. It's because we them boys. So just deal with it. Deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But I digress. It's like people who get tired of that, right? It's other people who are deserving of hearing about it. But here's my thing. Why would we talk Philadelphia Eagles, even if they've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years, on that's not a sexy team to talk about. With the tush push. Like, that's going to be the topic of our conversation. So I'm just saying, like, I get the angst, but the people who are in the spotlight typically are in the spotlight for a reason. So black excellence, they are. A model of prosperity, they are. We can't deny that. And the NFL isn't a fan of it. I think we could all agree with that, right? Y'all ain't hitting, y'all ain't give me, talk to me in the chat over here. Is that the greater issue? Now my camera about to die. Dang it. Well, it is what it is. I want to keep going, y'all, but you know, I alleviated one issue with my laptop. I had to cut my sound, but now my battery about to die, and it's on its last leg. So, y'all did well, man. I thank y'all once again. You know, I got to get out of here. I got to actually edit a video. But please, subscribe to the Mind of a Man Network. You're going to want to be tuned in for all the things that we talk about. Make sure you hit the like. If you just coming in, please watch this back. If you just getting in, I got 20 people in here. I should have 20 likes. Please hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. That's all I got, man. Thank you for everybody who chimed in and who had something to say. If y'all rock with your boy, I promise you're going to like a bunch of content that I put out, man. Until next time. I'll see you later this week, I promise. Y'all be easy. Why now? Peace. Love it.